Welcome back to the Mainstreet podcast, guys. We're here finally with VegNonVeg in Bombay and sitting with the one and only Mr. Anand Ahuja and Abhineet back on the podcast. Just to jump right into it, Bhane's store launches tomorrow, 28th of July, with VegNonVeg in Mumbai. And this is something that we've all been chasing for the longest time.
Yeah.
I think our first question would be, how come we're getting to Bombay so late?
Oh man, we've been looking for a store for like 3 years. Probably as soon as we opened Delhi, we started looking. But you know, we're still we know Bombay, but we got to know it better in the look. We were looking at Kalala, we were looking at Kala Ghoda, then we look at Bandra as well. So it's just, there were 2 stores that we were ready to sign, deal was done, and the dealer pulled out last minute.
Flicked.
Yeah,
in our industry, we have a lot of flickers.
No, yeah, it just literally last minute. There was one amazing store in Kala Ghoda that didn't go through because that. There was one actually not far from here. So both those really added. Each one takes like 6 months to find. So that in itself. So that's actually why. We got so much love for Bombay, which is why we wanted to make sure we got the right space.
So the vision was always in place. Like
yeah,
Bombay
we
was
knew.
the place to connect
Dude,
to.
Bhane's first order was from Bombay, even though we launched in Delhi. It was just. From day one, it's been like that, Yeah.
I mean, we have, the same number of people in Delhi shopping on our website as we have from Bombay, right? So it's absolutely the same. So it's a no-brainer for us to be here.
For us, we're of the firm belief that the influence in most of the country runs out of Bombay.
That's what we've noticed.
See now you go to Delhi people and say that, then they're not going to agree. But it's like there's very they're both different and they're both really nice. We love Bombay people, right? And Bombay people love Delhi roads and certain things like that. Delhi has, it's nice. Food is really good. Food is really good in Delhi. Food is really good here as well, but food is really good in Delhi. Especially if you like that. You can get healthier food in Bombay. But the taste wise,
Kale chips. Dried leaves.
No, you can get that stuff, but it's just street food is crazy in Delhi, right? So there are certain things Delhi's still the capital, so there's still a lot of stuff that happens out of there.
There's enough to love about Bombay.
But people argue Delhi's a fashion city, right? Because Bombay's got beach vibes. So
I feel like Bombay trends when they introduce and word spreads, but Delhi people pick up things a lot faster.
Yeah, Delhi people they spend more.
They spend more, they pick up quicker.
Bombay people work a lot, so sometimes they don't, and maybe that's part of the reason.
Before we get back into the store, I think one thing we really wanted to ask was the story behind Bhane.
Yeah.
We heard VegNonVeg before. We wanted to know how Bhane came up. What was the idea behind the vision?
So
how you got
Bhane actually, what it was I came back to India. I'd been out for 9 years, good part of 9 years, just coming back a couple weeks at a time, and then came back and I just saw this was back in 2010, and the blogger scene was really starting, photography, all this stuff, and it was very current, very relevant, very, it was very modern. It was with the rest of the world, having lived in what I saw in New York, and I was working in retail there as well. So it was so current in India, and I hadn't seen that because I'd been out for so long. So I was like, wow. And nothing was here. Gap wasn't here. H&M, Zara, none of these guys were here. And we were like, where are people going to buy clothes from? Where are they going? And so we were just talking about, okay, we need to make clothes for ourselves. That was the idea for Bhane. It was in my family's business of clothing manufacturing, the designers that were coming out of NIFT and stuff, they had such good style, and they didn't have access to it. They sort of know their way around because they're designers, so they know, but there's other people like this that don't know. So we just wanted to make clothes for young, creative people, young designers, young artists, whatever it is. That's what Bhane was. And hopefully have it appeal to a global consumer, right? We're making it for Indians, but it should appeal to a global consumer. So that's how it was started very on the side. It was me and then 2 designers together. One was 6 months out of college, one was a year and a half out of college. And then I met Abhineet, him and Emilia, and we were working on the strategy of it, and that was it, They were working as the agency, and there was 3 of us in the full-time team, and then the brew house, and that was it. So it was just that's how it started.
From the start, Bhane and VegNonVeg were conceptualized to be...
Well, yeah, so Bhane and Brew House, right? That was a collab that we had. And we talked about sneakers from day one. We wanted to open, so the same way it's taken us long to come here, V&V took 2 years longer than we wanted it to take. Because we started talking about 2.5 years earlier. But we wanted to make a basement in the Bhane store, but we couldn't get permission. So it got put off, and then actually, like, we used to still talk about it and stuff, and then I was in Bombay for a Nike, the Air Max Zero launch. And there I was just like, before the event, I was just talking about like, oh, you know, like me and Abhineet, we wanted to do a sneaker store, and Nike was loving it. They were like, you got to do it. Yeah. I called him from the event, and I was like, yo, like Nike loves the idea. We got to really work on this. He's like, I'm game to do it. Yeah. And then then I got back to Delhi a couple of days later, and we spoke more about it. And then it was just like, from there we started working. We were like, okay, let's get meetings with other brands, see if they're interested right away. Like Adidas was interested, you know, Reebok. So it was just like, okay, now let's go. We can't, you know, we just got to go with it now. So yeah.
Like sticking to Nike, you've seen like Adidas release all the Yeezys and the Pharrells and everything. They've really pushed all their supply in India. But Nike, we haven't seen like that kind of supply yet. We haven't seen like any of the 10 release. Barely any of the Jordans. You know, I think we spoke to Abhineet about this before. But in your opinion, is it changing?
It'll come.
Something
See,
like that?
it's actually like, so when I was at Macy's, I actually worked with these brands. I did buying for clothes, but I was managing a Nike account, Adidas account, you know, Oakley and stuff like that. So the two brands just work very different, right? Like Adidas is a lot more like, they can make those smaller, quicker decisions. Like, let's just do it and we'll figure it out. What's up? What's up? Thank you, sir. How you doing? Yeah, it's okay. Say hi though. Come say hi in your Vapor Maxes. This is what we were talking about yesterday. Thank you very much. Yeah, have a look. Have a look. All right, cool. So we were. So you know, so they work very different. Adidas is like, they'll make those small decisions and they'll be like, and Nike, they won't. Like, it's a very, the decisions, like, they won't make those small decisions, they'll put it off, but when they decide, they'll move in a big way, right? So they're like very different, they handle these things very differently, and that's just part of it, you know?
Nike, I mean, even structurally, it's $27 billion versus Adidas, which is at just about 9.
So I mean, that's part of it, but you know, that's been there. Nike will do that. Adidas will like, okay, let's just start with some Yeezys and we'll figure it out. And Nike won't. It's the same thing with like Apple and Google almost.
Which is why Kanye left.
Yeah, I mean, like Nike was like, listen, we only do endorsements for athletes, right? That's just Nike's thing. And Adidas took a chance and it worked for them, you know? But it didn't, Adidas has originals. And so they've always had a little bit of an edge in streetwear. And Nike's always had a little bit of an edge in performance. And that's just part of the difference. And it paid off for Adidas.
Well,
right?
Nike obviously like has a very conscious way of working as well, right? I think, as I was saying, like, you know, they're not that experimental when it comes to like starting new things. I think they're experimental with the technology that they use.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but
so you know, I mean, coming to this point, and I'll just like, you know, so like we're very keen on showing them that, you know, like we had a meeting with Nike. So the Nike India is head out of Singapore now. So we had a meeting with them a couple of weeks ago talking about this.
That was there.
No, actually, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing because the thing is like India is still a young market. It will take time to grow, and so it's okay for Nike if they felt that they're not seeing the growth that they want to see yet. It's okay, you know, just they're going there. But the good thing is they're right next to now the global decision-making team. So like, you know, we have access to certain things, like, you know, like we were at the Virgil event last year in Singapore. So like, you know, like that's something that could only happen because now Nike India is right there, you know. So that's a good thing. The bad thing is a little bit further. But you know, it'll happen. Nike's like, listen, we're open to an India partner. We just need to see that. We need to see that. And so we're talking about our second store. We're talking about more of that. So like, we're definitely pushing it. And you know, we want it as much as everyone else. And it'll happen. It's just a matter of like, and I think when they come, they'll come strong and they'll catch up.
You got back to India in 2010. To now, what kind of culture difference have you seen? How much have you seen this grow?
From the first store to now.
I don't know. I mean, it's obviously grown. You know, that's 2010 to 2000 now. It's 8 years, but it was already there. It wasn't consolidated, right?
What were the major differences that you've seen from then and now?
You know, I mean, I think like you guys were around, like we were around. It was just we've been able to consolidate it, so like, you know, people can come to V&V, and I think what we try and do is like do it because we really believe it as well. So we're part of it, so we can do it in a real way. I think the big change you're actually seeing with a lot of girls. Like girls are getting into like girls in design. Like girls, they now sneakers. Like a lot of them won't buy a sneaker just to buy a sneaker. They'll buy it. It's like the sneaker or this flat, but the sneaker's in the conversation, right? That's there, and it's a lot more accepted to be worn, even like mix and match with formal. And then actually, what you're seeing with like designers, designer shoes actually have their own identity now. Yeah. And before it wasn't. Designer was just like before you would just copy a Nike or Adidas and just put leather on it. It's like, oh, all of a sudden it's a designer shoe. No, but now like the Triple S and all these shoes, they actually have their own identity and it can stand up there on the shelf. So that to me is the biggest change, you know.
I mean, just like LV and Virgil and LV, like I think that just says a lot about where it's moving. Right?
Yeah.
Like
so streetwear is a lot more accepted.
It's sort of more like it's becoming mainstream.
It's more than a niche, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
becoming
niche
the next high
anymore.
fashion.
But you know, there's niche within the niche within this mainstream, right? So there's a lot of brands that even I don't know yet, you know, and that are there. It's still the same category, but they're the niche. And LV is the LV now. I mean, does streetwear, right? But it's designer wear.
But I think it's also like moving away from just like for Nike, for instance, like if you're an athlete, you know, you get a shoe. It's actually also like, you know, the collaborations are becoming wider.
Yeah.
So it's like artists and graphic designers.
I think we'll soon see the Hermes belt get replaced with the industrial belt.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that's what we'll know. Every nightclub is full of like 15 different industrial belts.
Yeah, I mean.
That's when you know it's here.
Yeah. I mean, you're seeing that a lot, right?
When
like
people ruin it.
With what LV did in the present, like in their Fashion Week, with all that stuff, like you're seeing the hardware come. It's gonna come, you know. And Matthew Williams, whatever Matthew Williams, that Nike stuff he's done, it's all that. Like they've got belts for your Air Forces now and stuff.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna see that stuff.
Yeah, was super dope.
Yeah, you're gonna see that stuff.
They did like
now.
a special force out of a regular.
And his whole Nike Lab collection, like you're seeing that stuff, so it'll happen.
But I like it, right? Like I mean, it's not going to stay relevant forever, and something else will happen. Something else will change. You know, which is how it works anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
About 3 or 4 months ago, when we had you on the podcast, you told us about the next move for Veg Non-Veg with streetwear.
Yeah.
And it's finally been out. I think it's been only a couple of weeks.
Just a week, yeah.
It's doing phenomenally. We love the looks. How does it seem from your perspective? How long did it take? How did you all go about it, and how did it come out?
Yeah. I mean, it's doing well. Like I think it's been received really well. It's actually really good quality basics. You know, so we expect it to do do really, really well. It's been in the works for a while. You know, but I think it was important for us to get the quality right. You know, to make sure that the fits were right. And I know that Anand and his team have been working really, really hard to kind of get that in place.
Yeah.
You know, to make sure that we're, on the money. Yeah. So.
So I mean, you know, the thing is like with it's even though we're using the same resources of like, okay, how do we find fabrics and whatever it is, but like the fabrics are very different from Bhane. The fits are very different, you know, like it's just, we want to get that right, you know? So we spoke about clothes probably the same time we were starting VNV, right? Like we knew that we wanted to, if it grew the way we wanted it, we would get into it, right? So we sort of knew that from the beginning. It's not like, oh, now let's do it, but we gave it its time to sort of develop into its own thing. It was the right time. We could have launched it maybe a couple of months earlier if we could have, but actually, you know, we were thinking about launching a couple of months earlier, but we just weren't ready with some of the stuff. You know, there's like a lot of details you want to get right, hang tags, and you know, you like the store and how you know when you're gonna do it, and all that stuff. So it's just you want to get it right. You know, like.
I mean, feel the hand tag, man. Like,
hand tags are really nice, and they're so different than Bhane, right?
Look at the hand tags later.
Yeah, like you can't just pull them out. You gotta like cut them out. You know, it's like because it's heavier. You know, it's heavier, and they got the red and green dots. Like
I remember when I bought my first expensive hoodie, I was like, I don't want to throw this hand.
It's there. You don't want to, right? I mean, the same thing. Like if you're buying a Prada suit, you're not gonna throw away the hang. Like it's the same thing, right? Like that's just sort of part of it.
But like going forward, going forward, are you gonna stick to like basics, or are you looking to get more designer wear into?
No, we'll get more. You'll start seeing that pretty soon. Like it's just the first thing we want. Like people need tees and hoodies and stuff like that. But it'll still be like similar vibe. But we'll have this. But there needs to be a little bit more that showcases like our capacity and
it's not
what
fast
we stand.
Fashion.
It's not. Not at all.
That's a boundary.
Far. No, it's not at all.
between H&M and Zara and this
We're
kind
not
of stuff.
that, yeah.
These are basics, not fast
Yeah,
fashion.
yeah,
The
yeah.
whole difference is so important.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I think like for us, like, you know, to think about how we approach this, and these are the conversations we're having with Anand, and you know, as a team with Deep as well, you know, is how do we express like what makes this garment veg non-veg? What's the connection to India? You know, what does it mean to be a streetwear brand here? You know, and I think those are the questions that we grapple with more than more than anything. I think from a production standpoint, those things exist, right? Like I think we have a pipeline, we can plug into it anytime that we want. And I think it's important for us to truly represent that. You know, with this collection, like I think the intention was definitely to high quality basics, but also your sneakers should shine. You know,
give something to pair with. And most of the people walk in like, I can't pull this off. I have nothing to wear.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
more excuses.
No more excuses. No more excuses. That's absolutely right. You know.
Can you use the tagline?
Yeah, no more excuses. But you know, it's like but someone should be able to. I mean, like, you know, in Bombay, people wear a lot of flip flops here, you know. So like, you could rock that too, you know.
Now we feel of flip flops.
Yeah, we got some here. We got some here too. Yeah, we got some.
That's just like college boy culture in India. Like I've seen it all around college.
Yeah, it's more in Bombay though.
Always wearing slippers.
We did a video.
Not so much in Delhi.
We did a video where we went outside Jahan College and I showed a bunch of people the Triple S, the Mud Rats, the 500s, and asked them the wave runner, how do you like this shoe? How much should you pay for it? Average answer was about 1,800 rupees. And when I started telling them, like, you could pay me and I would not wear that shoe.
Yeah. That's the average, right?
And all these guys are wearing the chappals and the same Nike slippers everybody's rocking. Okay, my next question is, congratulations on the wedding.
Thank you.
But celebrity culture grows street fashion all over the world.
Yeah.
How much of that do you see taking over in our country, specifically with Bollywood?
See,
do you see more or less compared to the designer supply?
People are, you know, people just like fashion. So like sneakers have become more sort of in trend as well. But I mean, trends go up and down, right? So that stuff will stop. Some people will stay in it, some people won't. So it's just, that's important. Like, you know, there's some people that have been around it for a while and they will continue to be around it. Some people, like when I met Sonam, actually, like she had some sneakers, but I actually used to tease her about her sneakers a lot.
Sonam's been considered as a style icon.
Yeah, but she didn't have good sneakers. She didn't have good sneakers. She had a few. Actually, Addy had done a good job of sending her, like, they had a Stan Smiths with the silver toe and stuff. She had a couple, but the other ones were not that good. And she used to buy the wrong size. No, the Stan Smiths are good, but Adidas sent those to her, I think. But her other ones were not that good. That's what I'm saying. And she used to get the wrong size.
But now like her, no problems.
No, but Rhea, like, she's been into sneakers for a while. Like, she was wore Bhane a lot, and she wore sneakers a lot. So like, there's some people it's been there. Now Sonam's like, she doesn't care about hype sneakers. She loves the racers. Like, she has Flyknit racers, Nike. She has like 3 white pairs.
We saw you wearing one.
Yeah. I wore the trainers. She has the racers because she has narrower feet. But she loves those, you know. And she loves the Sambas because they're narrow. And so like she knows her stuff. And some people, she's not like a trend-based person. And some people are, and they'll sort of grow with it. But some people like Ranveer with Adidas, like, he just loves that culture, right? Like, I'm pretty sure he's just doing it because he loves it. Like, there's nothing else in it for him. He just really likes it. And so that's like, that stuff will never go.
He absolutely pulls it off. Like, that personality. Like,
that stuff will never go, right?
Energy.
That stuff will never go. But there's some people that are more fashion-based, right? Like, and they'll just wear what fashion is, and that's cool too. But that changes, right? And if that changes back into a formal thing, they'll move back to formal as well. And some people say in sneakers. So it's just they get visibility in India, especially like Bollywood gets a lot of visibility. And that
I was saying the Bombay influence is so much more across the country. So I wanted to see that.
That way.
Falls.
I believe that Bollywood is the only mass market left in this country.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, like, think about it. Like, doesn't matter what socioeconomic class you come from.
They're the only trendsetters.
Yeah.
It is. Everybody's tuned into Bollywood.
And we've seen that. There'll be people reaching out to us from Ranchi saying like, I really want these Babe names. And like, no, it's not a hype. I really want the Babe names. Can I please pay you in installments?
Yeah. It's absolutely right.
Figuring things out like that.
No, I mean, that's part of it. Like, you see, so this is he doesn't like being called an uncle, but he's like my father-in-law's younger brother. So we call him Sanjay, but he's actually like Sanjay Chachu, but he hates that. But like, I mean, he's wearing Vapor Maxes. Yesterday he was wearing the young ones that he bought from V&V. And like in tribute to us launching, he's like, you know, I wore him and he's like, but you know, that's like, he loves that stuff. He's not buying it because it's like, oh, that's what the hype thing is, that he just likes those, you know? So, and that's sort of what's cool about it. And the people that they like it, they'll do it, you know, and that's.
I think when we see more of Bollywood start dressing because they like it, not because a brand is plugging in, and they start.
No, but you know, that's what happens. And that's what people ask, like, how do celebrity endorsements, how is it? I said, it's not about, it's consistency, you know? Yeah. If someone is consistent about it and it's believable, that's the most important. Because if Sonam one day wears something, then doesn't mean it's gonna, like, maybe you'll get a little bit of a spike, but consistently it's like, now I believe it, you know?
So just that, I think it's also that they don't talk about it as much. So that even if they are wearing sneakers, it never comes up because they never sit down talking about their shoes with anybody.
That's
what we saw.
Like, you know,
YouTube channels like Mainstreet TV.
Yeah. No, but like, you know, for example, like if Sonam wears the triple S's, it's not really believable. But Janvi, her younger cousin, wears them, and that's her style. And so it's like, so if you were Balenciaga and picking between the two, you got to pick the right person, and that would be her, right? So that's important, and that's believable, and that's believable, you know.
That's authenticity, right? Like when you're authentic to something, you care about it, right?
That's believable, right?
Like Ranveer does about this whole culture. Have you seen Ranveer from the start?
He's been sneakers from the beginning.
You've seen him wear fragments, and
he's been from the beginning. From the beginning, he's been that, you know. So like that's
I think the last bit was that conversation. Now that everybody's talking about it, that you're talking about it on all social media, I think now we actually can see it grow.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it in the last 2 years. Like I said, like last time we spoke, between like, you know, Soul Edition and now, it's
so
like
much.
It's grown so much.
Especially the last 2 years.
I mean, last 2 years for sure.
Well, I think one of the biggest biggest challenges in tackling or expanding the sneaker culture in India is the price sensitivity of, and especially with the tax, the GST and everything. You've seen Yeezys retailing about 25 grand now, which is at least 10 more than what you get for abroad. And I think like
so now it's changing. I mean, Adidas is moving to global pricing. Nike's had that for a while. So I mean, Nike's been good. I mean, the Jordan, you know, that we launched, the Breads, like global pricing, right? So Adidas also moving to that. They realized that was a big hindrance, you know.
I think once you start seeing those quantities drop, like, you know, they understand it's like a stock. It holds value, and when people finally realize that, and they start noticing that you'll see a lot more people stop worrying about that. Oh, it's so much for sneaker, but what's value? But I think with that, we come to the end of this very interesting conversation. Thank you so much for doing this.
Of course. Thank you.
Which I think is 6 months in the making for us.
Was it really?
18 podcasts. And
little known fact, before we started out, we actually did call VegNonVeg. Hello.
Yes,
chance we could meet.
Did you really?
We asked for you.
Why don't you just message us?
We don't know. They said email us. We sent 3 emails and no.
No, bro. Where's your email? Because both of us see the I don't see the Instagram messages, but I see the emails though. I see the emails.
I guess you missed that.
I don't know. I missed it because I usually see it.
This is the first thing we tried, but this is
so
a long time coming for us.
No, it's cool, man. That's great.
And again, best of luck for this.
We'll do it more. So we're gonna have we're gonna do we're gonna do a big event in the first week of October. So we'll keep you guys posted, man. That'll be dope. We'll do a V&V barbecue and stuff. Yeah, for sure, man.
Let's find a way to collaborate, man.
100%.
You guys are passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah. So between now and then, we want to do a small event that could be like, you know, it's more like just the sneaker focused one.
Workshops, we can do.
We can do workshops.
We can do games. We can do giveaways. There's so much.
And actually, you know, I think you guys can really talk about like what you guys are doing, because I know a lot of people would love to know. Even on camera, people would love to learn. You know, like I mean. Like people don't know the effort that goes into it. Like people would love to learn about the equipment you're using, how you set up your structure, you know, what your team does. Like people would love to know that.
Which talks about all of that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm saying, like, you know, to teach people how to do that. You know, like it's nice and it's important to get that out there as well.
We're starting conversations and I'm super glad to have you. You all support us and us do whatever we can.
Of course.
And VegNonVeg is here in Bandra. You'll find it. It's
across from this Ambedkar statue.
Across from the Ambedkar statue.
Yeah.
Make sure to be here. They launch tomorrow, 28th July. And subscribe.
Cool.
Thank you for watching.
Subscribe. Get on it.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Yeah, next time, please.
Thank you so
Cool,
much.
man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Cheers.
That's amazing.
Yeah, where do you get your sneakers from?
From
Anand and
Mainstreet.
Mainstreet? No way, that's amazing.
What a
Who are these guys?
coincidence, guys.
That's crazy. Thank you so much.